Hi everyone, my name is Abhishek Chen, and in today's video, we're just gonna see how ChatGPT actually helps me to just create my own gRPC server for the very first time. And I was not very expert in what exactly the gRPC server is, and I just wanted to learn that, right? So I thought that it would be a good idea to just give it a shot to the ChatGPT to see how much help it can offer to me to understand the gRPC server and how can I write one. So you can see on my screen, I'm just typing, what is gRPC server and how to create gRPC server. So let's hit and see what response we get. And then we just gonna follow that. So what it says, gRPC is Google Remote Procedure Curl, is an open source framework developed by Google, blah, blah, blah. So it is giving a lot of information, you know. The important one is to create a gRPC server in Python. You will need to follow these steps. Define the service and a message type using a protocol buffer. Yeah, this is the important concept in gRPC that we have to understand the protocol buffers, right? And it just gave you the code as well. This one is for the protobuf, how the protobuf should look like. Then generate a gRPC code using proto-C, which is, another concept. So we need to understand what is proto-C. And we have a lot of code, right? And it tells a lot of things, right? So now, being a beginner, I don't know anything about gRPC server, then the question comes into my mind is, what is protocol buffer? Why? Let's see. Protocol buffer, also known as protobuf, is a language agnostic binary serialization format developed by Google. So basically, this is nothing but which actually help us to just serialize our messages in a binary format. And that's pretty much it to understand, but there is a lot of things which you are getting. And if you are having an interest, then you can understand that, right? So let's see, what exactly we need to do to just create our own gRPC server. Define the service in the messages type using protocol buffer. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy the entire thing. And first you need to create a .proto file. So what I'm going to do is let me check if I have a patch installed. Yes, I do have. So I'm just opening it up. And in the meantime, probably what I can do is I can create a, okay. Let me just create a folder, new folder with name ChatGPT. And inside ChatGPT, let me just create another folder called GRPC Server. Okay. And here, let me just open up Notepad++. And whatever I just copied the protobuf content, which has this, what it says, a syntax and the package. We can just understand that we are not going to change anything. All we are going to do is just copy paste here and keep following what ChatGPT is telling us to do, right? So we have created this chat. Okay. So what I'm going to do is first proto buff. Yeah, this is the extension which that document says. Right. So let me just use all types and let me just save it. So we have saved it. Let's go back here. Define the service. I have created that. Generate gRPC code, use the protocol buffer compiler. So basically we need a compiler. So let's see what it says. Next step, it says that generate gRPC code using proto-C. And for that, we need Python, and then we have to install these two libraries. And then we have to run this. So let's do it. I think my PyCharm is open. So let's create a new project, Python project. So let's go to the D drive and the folder which I created, which was ChatGPT. Where's that? ChatGPT, and inside that we have just GRPC. Let's use this one. Okay, let's create it. Create from existing source. Do you want to create a project from existing source? Let's create a new window. Okay, so it's just getting prepared, right? So first we have to install these Python libraries. So if you have, the background on a Python side, so this is the way through which we can install any dependency. And it seems like these are the two libraries which we have gRPCO, gRPC tools, right? So we can ask this question, right? I mean, what is protocol buffer compiler, right? So in the meantime, we can just try to understand what ChatGPT tell us what exactly the protocol buffer compiler is. It's a command line tool provided by Google that translates .proto file, which contains the definition of your data, schema, and service into a language specific code. It takes the high level schema definition and generate the necessary source code file that allow you to serialize, deserialize, and manipulate data according to the defined schema in your chosen programming language, right? If you understand this, what I understood by reading this line, this para is, this is my structure basically, which looks like a structure because it says that we have some service name, which is my service, and it has some method, and then we have a message which is request message. Probably this is going to be a request message structure. Then we have a response message, which is going to be a response message structure. We have string type, and where it could be a variable. We have a message, right? So when we are going to use this proto file, feed into our protocol buffer compiler, then it's going to create some source code for us, right? So this is what I understood, and let's see what happens when we do so. Let's see, I mean, if my environment is ready. Yeah, it looks like it's ready. We already have our proto buff, right? So let's follow what, so let me just run this pip install. I mean, you don't need this Python M because, it's already there because it's a virtual environment in Python. But if you are new to the Python world, then you can install the Python, and pip is nothing but just one of the module which comes with your Python installation. So that is why it says that Python -m, which is actually just indicating that you want to execute pip module, right? So don't worry about this. So you just copy this and you can run it. And if I want, I could have, use this entire line as is, right? If we say so that we just wanted to blindly follow this, right? So it's going to do the same thing because we have already installed it. That's the reason we are getting this, it's there, right? The next line is, this one. So let's copy this and let's do it. Because right now we have only this first proto buff, right? So I think we have to change this. Either we have to change this to first proto buff, right? That's pretty much it. Let's run it and see. Import packages. Package resources deprecated as an API. Okay, so we ran this. Have we got anything? Okay, it seems like we got these two new files, right? First, protobuf underscore pv2 underscore pv2 grpc. See, yeah, it looks like we have got some Python code here, right? Oh, cool. These are the two files which we got when we execute the second command, which is nothing but it just, compiling our protobuf, which we copy and pasted, right? So this looks good. So far we are good and we are able to get, okay. So basically this will generate the example underscore pv2.py and example underscore pv2 underscore grpc. What does it mean? It means that whatever the proto buffer file name we're gonna use, it's going to be prefixed then underscore pv2.py and pv2 underscore grpc, right? And then it says that implement the GRPC server, right? So I think it would be good if we can just rename our protobuf to example, because that way it would be very easy for us uh, to follow blindly, right? So, so let me just make an example program. Let's see what happens. Okay, so I just made an example proto and I'm just coming here back. And first, I mean, we should be good, but I think, let's see. I mean, if we just put this example, then what it should create to more Python file. Example underscore pv2.py underscore pv2 underscore grpc.py, which we are seeing here. So that way it would be, very easy to understand what ChatGPT is giving, is accurate or not, right? So let's see. Let's come back here. It's taking a little bit longer, it seems. This time it's taking a little longer. Okay, so now it seems like we have these two files created. Okay, cool. So we have those two files here. Example, let me just close these two and break these. Okay, this looks good. This also looks good. Now we can blindly follow the ChatGPT suggestion. Implement the gRPC server. And for that, it doesn't tell, what name I should use for this. So I can ask this, right? But so let's copy this. And here I can create the new file, Python file. Let's just tell it's first gRPC. Let me just copy paste this code here. What it is doing, it seems like, it is importing this one and both the Python file which just got generated by the protocol buffer compiler. It's good. Let me save it. Come back here. We can ask this question, right? I mean, configure the server and start it. In this example, the server is your configured listen to 50051. You can change it to according to your need. And this is how you need to run. So basically, whatever name you want, we can just run it and then, okay, so let's do it. So we gave this first gRPC. So it says that Python, then we have to give first gRPC. Okay, first, this is the name which I used. So let's see what message we get. Future is not defined, name error. So let me just copy this. Let me ask this question, ChatGPT. When try to implement the suggested code, then got into this app. See what happens. I apologize for the oversight in the code. The future module is required. Import the thread pool executor. Future module is the modified code snippet. Okay, so let me just copy this now. And this is where, the actual strength shines from ChatGPT. Let me just delete everything and save and rerun that code. Okay, let's see what happens this time. It seems like, it's not throwing any error. So let's come back here. Okay. And now what's the next thing? Now gRPC server is up and running and ready to handle incoming request from gRPC client. Remember to install the gRPC blah, blah, blah. Okay, so now we have a gRPC server running. How to create. First of all, what is gRPC client? How to create one gRPC client which can interact with such as the servers. So let's see what we get. A gRPC client is a program or a component that sends remote procedure calls to a gRPC server and receives the corresponding response. The client interacts with it. So basically, it's nothing but it's just a way through which we can connect to the server, which we just ran it, right? Okay, awesome. So let's copy this. Again, it seems like it is just using the same. So run client. Okay. So let's create another file here itself, Python file, and first GRPC client, and copy paste it. Okay, and just try to run this Python uh, first GRPC underscore client. Let's see what happens. Response received from a server, hello world. Right, awesome. This really looks good, right? What we are saying, hello and request message. So basically it is just combining a request message, and what message we are sending basically. We are sending word. So let's put my name, Abhishek, save it, and come back here. And let's rerun this, see what we are gonna get. Hello, Abhishek. Awesome. So just see, I mean, you have to just ask question to the chat GPT. You have to just blindly follow it. Wherever you are getting an error, you just need to ask ChatGPT what kind of error you are getting into, and it's very powerful to tell what exactly needs to be done, right? So now it's completely up to you how you want to, make this gRPC server more complicated, right? So now you have a gRPC server, you have a gRPC client, right? You can read through about the gRPC server, I mean, where you can use gRPC server, because most of the time you have to use the gRPC server in a distributed system where you want one server to talk to the another server, right? Or one service needs to talk to another service, right? In microservices, whenever you want to write a microservices, there you can use it. A distributed system, you can use it, right? And you can search, right? Let's ask this question. I mean, where to use? So where to use gRPC server, right? And is it going to replace RESTful API server, or it is completely a different architecture to write software? Whatever question you have in your mind, I mean, you can ask this, right? I really like it, right? The moment, because when I started ChatGPT, I really felt that, it is making me more efficient day by day, right? So gRPC server are well suited for the various scenarios, especially in the modern distributed system where high performance, efficiency, language agnostic interoperability are important. When gRPC can be used in a different context, it does have some distinct advantages over a traditional RESTful API server. However, whether the gRPC replaced RESTful API or not depends on a specific requirement and the constraint of your app. So that makes sense. It's not completely going to replace that because it's completely depend what kind of system you are trying to build, what kind of application you are trying to build. And if you really want, as it mentioned, high performant, efficient, or the language agnostic interoperability, then probably you should consider this as one of the option top of your RESTful API, right? The major, attributes of major advantage like performance system and the efficient language agnostic interoperability, that's good. A strong typing and code generation that we have seen, we have to use a protocol buffer file where we can define our messages, and we can ask that question as well. It's streaming and bidirectional communication. It means that client can send the information to the server, server can send the information to the client, so server and client can have a continuous bidirectional communication. That's really good, because in RESTful API server, that's not the case, because client cannot continuously interact with the server. They can just send the request and it gets response. Then again, client has to send a new request, right? So that is something which is different ecosystem and tooling. Uh, we can ask such question. Uh, what is request? What is request structure in crypto buffer, right? You can ask whatever questions coming in your mind regarding the gRPC. You can just, put your question and you can ask those things, right? So this time it seems like, it's just telling request refers to the structure of messages that client sends to server when making a RPC request. That makes sense. It defines the data fields and their types that client includes in the request message. That also makes sense. And here it seems like now we have mic request with its string int and repeated string field, right? It is repeated string field, an array of a string. So basically, if you want to have an array, then we have to use this repeated, before any data type, whatever we are. So it seems like it is going to be the array of, string type, right? So then you can keep asking questions, whatever you want to learn or whatever you want to implement, right? So in that sense, it's really awesome. It's really cool. Start using it and get the benefit of this tool, because I am really loving this tool, right? It's helping me a lot, almost on a daily basis, right? I can't imagine, before I started, using ChatGPT, I have to, search on a Stack Overflow. I have to search a lot of different websites to get the pointers, right? But here, you just need to type your concern or your error, and you will get some pointer. I mean, if it is not precisely giving you all the information, but if you keep asking question, then definitely you will get the pointer, all the some kind of, indication through which you can solve your problem. That's it. That's pretty much it, which I wanted to cover in this. And probably in a next video, I'm just gonna pick another topic which I want to learn and I want to implement in a programming language, right? So as always, thanks for watching this, and stay healthy and keep learning a new thing, and use ChatGPT as much as you can so that you can also become more efficient if you really want to do that. So thanks for watching this, and stay tuned for my next video.